Obviously, one of our favorite markets are trade shows, and it's not just the fun of helping people have a successful trade show, but it's a lot of fun for us to see new products and new derivations that it takes to make the world tick. And very often a case project is driven because there's some new product. So whoever's involved with the selection of trade show cases, again, has to very often deal with nothing being ready until the very last minute. Again, though, we would encourage you to make contact with us early on, so that that we can talk through and walk through a lot of the options. So one of the first forks in the road that people hit is the interplay. If they're dealing with a trade show exhibit house or a contractor that's handling their trade show exhibits, sometimes the easiest path is to simply put the burden of the case off on whoever is handling the trade show exhibits. And if that's the circumstance, we are more than happy to work with that entity, to give you support. However, there's a danger there if we don't have good communication up and down the chain. Frankly, sometimes the folks that at your trade show exhibit house are hostile to another vendor coming in. And it took me a while to learn this, but in trade show exhibit world, very few trade show companies could exist by designing and selling trade show booths. The design process is costly. It's an evolutionary process that very often involves change orders. It very often involves different people involved. There's a lot of revision. There's a lot of deadline pressure. And it is a business not unlike the razor and the blade business. In trade show world, the exhibit is the razor. They very often, as I said, almost end up losing money. Where they make the money is in the handling and rework of the crating and cases that they're supplying with the booth. And unfortunately for some of our clients, sometimes those costs are way overinflated. Again, it's easy for an outsider to say, quote, overinflated, because they obviously have a high overhead of labor, storage, and handling to get those back in, check them out, and get them serviceable for the next trip. So very often I would approach people and say, hey, with the molded style of cases, you're going to get away from this constant rework that you've got with the older wood-based style of cases. And I couldn't, the folks that were actually on the exhibit house side couldn't throw me out of the building fast enough, because the last thing they wanted was to cut into that revenue stream. So you as a customer may have a different set of motivations. The other reason that you need to engage early is that we can help you explore ways of possibly getting multi-function. That is, most companies have cases and gear that go out to large trade shows, and they very often support small events like professional conferences and trade show tabletop exhibits, those kind of things. So it could well be that there's opportunity to do a lot more than just capture the goods and get them to the large show safely. It could well be that we can create a combination of demonstration piece and a carrying case that's appropriate then to go into the tabletop show and actually use the case for the demo piece. Well, there's a tremendous opportunity there to add value to the product. Another product that we sell that goes right along with that are what we call presentation mats. In essence, these are just giant mouse mats that are neoprene. There are various colors available, fabric-covered neoprene that can accept custom screening. So it might be as simple as personalizing the conference room or personalizing the demo space with by getting one of these mats at each station where someone's going to be sitting, or using them to set gear out on. In turn, we've had folks literally print them with slogans or features of the product that's being shown, and sometimes even for things that are involve the training, that might involve a sequence of tools and materials. They may even lay those out on the table, and those are shadow boxed so that the items can be placed on them to maintain a combination of visual management. And again, we're creating that vital first impression. Wow, these folks have their act together. To the point now that we sell a lot of those mats as a standalone item outside of the cases. But sometimes we just incorporate them in the case, so that, and again, in trade show world, there's also a chance to recover a lot of value if you think in terms of possibly double value of the case, that it's not just a container to get things to the trade show, but something that your people can use in between trade shows as they go about their sales and demo. So again, we can help see if those kind of combinations are possible. The other thing that we bring to the table in that world is in no way do we try to palm ourselves off as being electronics or IT experts, but we sell a lot of rack mount cases, and so we get to look over a lot of people's shoulders as far as how to make cases that can roll in. You pop the lid covers off, plug it in, and it's good to go. In the same arena, we work a lot with people who are doing panel mount cases or other derivations of what we call plug and play. Instead of, one of our favorite markets is industrial automation. Very frequently, those folks are faced with having a system that involves 4 or 5 components, and the normal way to go about that was to have those components protected. Whoever's doing the training or demo would roll in and take those out of the case, plug them together, hope everything worked, and try to do the demo. Sometimes things worked, and sometimes there are different proficiencies of being able to pull that off. So the ability to just simply open the case, plug it in, and probably the ultimate experience that we've had along those lines is with some folks that were doing a telephone system. So not only did they go pop the case open, plug it in, they hit a button on the system and it played back the sales spiel. So all they had to do is sit back and watch the case do its thing. So some of you may be a little bit leery of that much automation, but circling back, there's even in the larger trade show environment, there may be options that you weren't aware of with some of the ability to cut down on the complexity of the electrical connections that you need to make your exhibit work. And again, that's an area where collaboration with the people that are building the exhibit might be of help.